Good morning, everyone, and welcome to First Parish Brewster Unitarian Universalist Sunday Worship. I'm Reverend Jessica Clay, the minister of First Parish Brewster. So happy to welcome you to worship this morning. You have made it. Give yourself a pat on the back. Today's worship, there we go. I see people patting. That's what I like. Today's worship is focused on the themes of play and laughter and joyfulness. So hopefully you got that from the prelude pictures. So I invite you to enter in however you are present this morning. We are so glad you are here. I want to say a big hello to people who are phoning in. I will try to describe anything that's shown on the screen for those that are phoning in, and welcome. We're so glad that you are choosing to access our service by phone as well. A couple of announcements this morning. If you are visiting us and are not a typical attender at our Sunday services, please do name where you're visiting from in the chat. We would love to welcome you that way. Some of you saw my video about the sandwich board a couple of last week before last, about how some people who were maybe feeling a little bit playful moved the signs, moved the letters around on our sandwich board out in front of church. And I said on my video that Twinks fixed it, but actually I wanted to announce the original fixer of the sign was a neighbor of ours, Chris Powicki. Chris Perwicki alerted one of our members that the sign had been vandalized and attempted to right it. And then Twinks did a final correction. So just wanted to correct that. For the month of August, we will not have Monday coffee with me or Open Cove office hours. Both of those are taking a break for the month of August. And we will resume some sort of weekly Zoom happenings in September, but we're not quite sure what those are going to be yet. Staff needs to talk it and discern that, so stay tuned for those announcements. We will be continuing Vespers though. Vespers on Wednesday nights at 7 p.m. Eastern will continue through the month of August and into the foreseeable future, as long as we keep getting more than 10 people. So once it gets less than 10 people, it's a lot of energy for staff to put on weekly. But right now we're getting more than 10. So as long as we keep getting more than 10, we will keep offering it for you. This week, our admin and finance director, Karina Stroh, is on vacation this week and next week. So if you're someone who typically texts her to get all of your questions answered, maybe you could just send an email and expect a reply in 2 weeks. Or as you saw in the angle, email Cove and one of our Cove volunteers can get back to you. And you can email me as well, as we let her actually be on vacation and get a little bit of a break right now. And I want you to mark your calendars for Saturday, August the 22nd. I'm saying that date right, aren't I, Karina? Is it the 20th? Yep, 22nd, okay. Saturday, August 22nd. We are doing something in advance of our In-Gathering Sunday, which is the first Sunday after Labor Day. Typically, we're gathered in our sanctuary. We have our water ceremony, and it's this beautiful service, right? Well, this year it's going to be virtual. So Saturday, August 22nd, we are going to be filming. We would like to film all of you for part of that service. And what you're going to do, you're going to drive up into the parking lot at the solar field. One at a time, you're going to get out, come up and pour the water that you brought into a vessel we will have. Jenny will be filming it. I will be off to the side saying hello and waving at you. And so you will pour the water in. You will also get a goodie bag to help you make it through this year of pandemic. So there will be some goodies in there for you as well, for you to use in that in-gathering service. And we will also have some yard signs for sale. We got these from the UUA. I'm going to show you pictures of them. So you have 2 yard signs to choose from. This is the first one. Isn't that nice? Wouldn't you like to put that in front of your home? Or this one to choose from, and those are $12. So we will be selling yard signs. This is not a fundraiser for the church. We are selling them for the price we purchased them for. So just so you know, but we just think, what if we have, because you know what? Let me just show you the other one again. So we'll have these yard signs for sale, August 22nd. I'm gonna give you times in just a minute, because I know you all know this, we have an election coming up. And soon we are going to see signs for everything under the sun. And some signs we're probably not going to want to see. And so what if I think we got 100 of these signs, right, Karina? 100? Yep, 100. So if we had 100 of those spread out all over the Cape, wouldn't that be a wonderful thing to drive by and see? So those will be for sale. Saturday morning, August 22nd. If your last name is A through L, you're going to come between 10 and 11 a.m. If your last name is L through Z, you're going to come between 11 and 12. So A through L, 10 and 11, L through Z, 11 to 12. And it'll be one at a time. You won't be touching anyone. We're going to keep this as clean and hygienic as possible, but you can come and get some yard signs, pour your water for our in-gathering water ceremony, get a goodie bag for your participation in the ceremony. And then we will also have, we still have some things from Equal Exchange from our closet, coffee and such that we used to sell on Sunday mornings. So we will have a table there as well, selling some of those to help clear out that inventory as well. Saturday, August 22nd, mark your calendars. And so once again, welcome to Sunday worship. We are so glad you are here. What about those of us who won't be there on the 22nd? If you won't be there on the 22nd and you want a bag mailed to you, who should they stay tuned and we will tell you who to email. Karina and I need to touch base and see. So look, we will start announcing this in the weekly angle, and we'll tell you, you're going to email someone, but we don't know who yet, and we will put it in the mail to you. So if you're not going to be here on the 22nd, or if you know of someone who, what if it rains? We're just gonna say it's not gonna rain. That's what we're gonna say right now. It's not gonna rain. I've already put in a call upstairs, so it's not gonna rain. If it rains, we'll come up with another plan, but we will announce it, so look forward to that. And once again, if you are visiting, please do let us know where you're visiting from in the chat box. Is your chalice handy? Just a reminder to get your chalices handy. Welcome to Sunday worship. We are so glad you are with us today.
We gather this morning in the midst of a pandemic with many reasons to mourn and grieve, many reasons to be fearful about what's happening and could happen in the future. And we gather to focus on joy, on play, on laughter. We invite these themes in, a welcome reprieve from all that is tugging on our hearts. We gather this morning with a new month before us, and we make space to reflect on what joy, laughter, and play brings to our lives. Can you feel it? There is enough space in our hearts, in our bodies, for play, for laughter, and for joy. We light our chalices for these things and more, for the tethers that connect us to hope and to each other. Come, let us worship together.
Please join me in our affirmation. We believe in love. Love is the doctrine of this church. We believe in truth. The quest for truth is its sacrament. We believe in helping others, and service is our prayer. We believe in the sacredness of life, to the end that all souls shall grow into harmony with the divine.
Now is the time in the service where we set aside time for prayer and meditation. And today I thought we would try something a little bit different and go with a laughing meditation. So first we have a tutorial for us all, and then we are going to try it on. And here's the beauty of it. If you're all in your homes, so nobody can see you, because we're all paying attention really, hopefully, to me right now. We're not going to scroll through and see the faces that other people are making. And we're all in this together. So remember that, and that this service is about maybe embracing something a little different. So you may be tempted to just tune this part out, but I hope that you participate and get some joy in it. So we'll watch the instructional video first, and then we're going to try it on.
Hey everybody, it's Mandy Lee, and today we're gonna do a laughing meditation. So, laughing meditations are really great for getting you into your body when you're really in your head, for letting your inner child come out, letting yourself play, and not taking life too seriously, and just laughing, bringing a lightness to it. There's 3 different stages to the laughing meditation, and I'm going to go over them with you now. Stage number 1 is you want to warm yourself up the way you would for an exercise or a sport. So you're going to move your face around and make lots of silly faces. You're going to make animal noises so that you warm up your vocal cord, and you're going to stretch your body a little. It's going to look like this. To the right. And to the left. Now let's stretch your face. Ready? Animal noises. Moo! Meow! Now that we're warmed up, stage number 2, which is laughter for 5 minutes straight. Even if it's not genuine, just laugh. Just mimic other people's laughter that you've seen before and just let it rip. I'm gonna give you 3 or 4 different types of laughs that you can do as your go-to. If you run out of ideas, just come back to these laughs. Laugh number 1 is the knee slapper. Laugh number 2 is ho, ha, he. Laugh number 3 is the nasal laugh. And laugh number 4 is the mad scientist laugh. And after your 5 minutes of laughter is the 3rd stage, where you close your eyes and just let yourself feel the aliveness in your body. Feel your heart beating, feel the energy moving throughout your body, and just center yourself and move on with your day.
Okay, everyone, are you ready to try it out? Let's try this again. Are you ready to try it out? All right. So I'm going to unmute you for this so that all of our sounds will wash over each other, because laughing alone isn't going to encourage that much laughter, right? You probably just experienced that when you were trying it out. So we're all just going to embrace being a little silly, and it's way less uncomfortable than if we were in the sanctuary together. And we are going to, first we're going to do our little warm-ups. So like stretch out, loosen up if you need to, make all the faces that you need to, make funny faces, get your face ready to laugh. There you go. See, you're probably already, there we go. We've got some good faces. Now you're gonna make your animal noises. So make your animal noises. We're going to try and laugh for 3 minutes straight. So remember, there are a bunch of different laughs. Do whatever laugh strikes your fancy, and we're going to laugh for 3 minutes straight. I'll unmute us all for 3 minutes, and then at the end of 3 minutes, I'll mute us, and we're just going to sit for a minute of silence. So are you ready? Go ahead and start laughing now.
Ready? Let's do
The thing, it's called laughing.
Keep going. Lots of laughter to go.
Look at that.
Going, you can do this. No, it's
Oh my
And now I invite you to just sit for a minute and check in with how your body is feeling after that laughter. Thank you for embracing being a little silly together. It would have been so much better if we were in the sanctuary together, but this is the second best thing. So thank you for embracing that together. And now our opening music today is offered by Reverend David Miller.
My life flows on in endless zoom, despite my lamentations. 10 people in this made-up room, a programmer's creation. Through all the tumult and the strife, my ears, they're really ringing. It's not an echo in my soul. The sounds are my hands ringing. Yes. But though my joy and comfort dies, for each news briefing giveth, I listen and then I just cry, oh woe, this life we liveth. No storm can shake my inmost calm, for to my hope I'm clinging. Elections coming in the fall, and change I hope it's bringing. My foggy eyes, my neck, it hurts. My back don't get me started. It's this all-day Zoom is making me not feel all that wholehearted. But here I'll sit and stare all day, because it is my calling to love my neighbor and my job, although the world's appalling. It is. Just one more thing before I go, I'll mention before leaving. This too will pass, we will move on, despite all the deceiving. Because my friends, resilience reigns. We'll get through the mudslinging. Keep faith alive deep in your heart, and please don't stop your singing. Please don't stop your singing. Amen.
Can I get an amen? All right. Next up, this is Reverend Jessica speaking, by the way. Next up, we have a reflection from First Parish member Chris Morin.
I believe that I was born to play. I am one of the lucky ones whose childhood was very memorable because of playing. I remember getting home from school, getting my homework done as quickly as I can, and so just so I could go outside and play. And I lived in a very Catholic family neighborhood, so there was many opportunities and children to play with. I had a good imagination to make up things, and I had many make-believe friends that kept me entertained. We moved into a new development. There was a lot of landscaping still to be done. And so there was lots of clumps of dirt and rocks and trees still out in the streets. And in the front of our house, there's this huge mound of dirt. It's a three-dimensional rectangle that was maybe 3 or 4 feet high. And my best friend and I, Marilyn, talked about what we wanted to do with that. So we decided, we got our bicycles, turned them upside down, and put them at one end of this mound of dirt, and used the bicycle wheel as a steering wheel. And we set off in a boat to find Moby Dick. So I have lots of those kind of memories, and still kind of laugh about them. So my college degree, to no surprise, was in recreation. So I basically have a degree in playing. And I used my degree to pursue therapeutic recreation. And this is when I realized how play and fun were so important to mental health. Up to this point, I just thought it was pretty much part of everyone's life. But I worked in a few different settings, such as people with intellectual disabilities, mental health, alcohol recovery, nursing homes. And I was in the activities department in some form. And our activities always were focused on and meant to re-engage people, even for a short time. And so people that were depressed or had dementia or physically ill, this moment in time was their time to re-engage, to step out of their pain. And you know, we had activities that were fun and made people laugh and made people talk to each other. So that's also when I realized that just not people, institutions, but we all need to have play and fun and laughter in our lives for our mental health. And that certainly has been a part of my life, as how I've used play and continue to. I was a part of many, youth groups, scouts and band and church groups and school sports. And the thread through all of those were people, having friends and being with friends and enjoying friends through play and laughter. Is actually a part of my spirituality. Laughter and play lighten the load for a while, reduce the stress, anxiety, and my spirituality is about being present, being in a good place, and being present with whoever I'm with. And that way I can offer whatever needs to be offered, whether it's sharing joy or sharing sorrow. And so I just want to leave you with the fact that we all deserve some joy, to find some play, to find some fun, even if it's for a little while. So having said that, I'm going to leave you so that I can finish my jigsaw puzzle. Thank you.
Thank you, Chris. Now is the time in the service when we collect for our split plate. Each Sunday we split the offering plate, with half of the collection going to, looks like there's some people. Errors in muting there for one moment. Let's try that again. Each week we collect for our split plate, and half of the collection goes to the work of our church, First Parish Brewster, and the other half goes to a worthy organization. The organization that this split plate is going to this week is USA for UNHCR, which is also known as the UN Refugee Agency. The UN Refugee Agency helps and protects refugees and people displaced by violence, conflict, and persecution. Let me just give you some stats you might be wondering. By the end of 2019, 79.5 million individuals were forcibly displaced worldwide as a result of persecution, conflict, violence, or human rights violations. That was an increase of 8.7 million people over the previous year. And the world's forcibly displaced population remains at a record high. This includes 26 million refugees in the world, the highest ever seen, 45.7 million internally displaced people, and 4.2 million asylum seekers. One person becomes displaced every 3 seconds, less than the time it takes to read this sentence. That's 20 people who are newly displaced every minute. In 2019, there were over 30,000 new displacements each day. And so supporting the UN Refugee Agency and its partners help provide life-saving essentials, including shelter, water, food, safety, and protection. Around the world, they help refugees survive, recover, and build a better future. In established refugee camps and communities, the UN Refugee Agency works to improve refugees' quality of life and future opportunities, providing infrastructure, schools, and income-generating projects. Today, we ask you to give generously to this offertory. You can text to give, the number is in the chat box, or you can mail in a check to First Parish Brewster, making sure to note it's for the split plate on August 2nd. Thank you for your generosity. The offering will now be gratefully received. Thank you for your generosity, and thank the Phoenix Chamber Choir for that video as well. Next up, we have a reflection from First Parish Brewster member Laura Gill.
Good morning. In elementary school, I was remanded to the hall periodically because I could not, for the life of me, stop laughing. On many occasions, I could be seen sprinting to the bathroom, laughing hysterically, bladder on the verge of exploding, often not arriving in time. My favorite game was a kind of staring contest where a friend and I would will each other to laugh without saying a word. Whoever broke down first lost the game, but both of us would end up guffawing in the end. It was then that I began to realize that my fits of laughter were more than just a sign of enjoyment. They provided opportunities to feel deep, almost primal connection with others. Laughing made me feel unbridled joy and somehow safer in an uncertain world. Jessica asked me to share this morning because she has observed that laughter and play are generally my go-to activities, especially when times are good. I told her that in the last 4 months, these outlets had taken a bit of a back seat, and apathy and listlessness had taken their place. That said, this exercise has allowed me to revisit the role laughter has played in my life and could play in these times. Everyone knows that laughter is good medicine. It lowers blood pressure, reduces stress hormones, boosts mood, diminishes pain, and protects you from the damaging effects of stress. In this era of COVID, one could argue that laughter is essential because it increases the circulation of antibodies in the bloodstream and makes us more resistant to infection. The list goes on. Thank you, Jessica, for choosing this topic and for choosing me to reflect on what laughter means to me. My new assignment: carving out time each day to engage in laughter. It might be playing the Whisper Challenge or having tickle fights with my family, sharing Jackbox TV games virtually online, watching Stephen Colbert, following my daughter's TikTok antics online, or even watching Petunia bark and run in her sleep. I fully embrace that I am seen as someone with the inclination to laugh and play, and hope that in the coming months I will be back in that saddle again. After all, laughter is fun, free, and easy to use.
Thank you, Laura. Next, we have a musical offering from Foothills UU Church.
Low below me, I feel my cushion. On my desktop are mountains and plains, far away from my friends and loved ones. Still I try to connect this way. Download another app now. How do I mute my microphone? White internet, my face will travel if I manage to zoom from home. Beach or space, my virtual background. Keep from view what's really messy. Leaning closer, my eyes get blurry while I try not to spill my tea. Where's the Zoom link? I thought I saved it. I am late to my meeting again. Stuck in the waiting room, someone admit me soon to my beautiful Zoom room home. I give thanks to the sweats I'm wearing. Did you know your video's on? Meet my children, they are yelling. Let's hope we don't all get Zoom bombed. Bring your dog back, where's your fluffy cat? How long will this go on? Cloud in the great web is my only travel, and this screen is my Zoom room home.
Thank you to Foothills UU for that offering. And so, in reflecting on the news as of late, I'm aware there are some important news stories that may have been missed in your daily lives. It's easy to get inundated by the biggest stories, and yet there are stories that aren't getting as much news time but still matter all the same. And to begin today, I'd like to highlight a couple of those. The first is by journalist Bill Chappell, who writes on NPR.org. He writes, two emus, siblings Kevin and Carol. Let me just show you a picture of Carol so you can see our main offender here. 1 second. Here's Carol. She looks like she's led a life of crime, doesn't she? So 2 emus, Kevin and Carol, are now banned from a hotel in a tiny town in Australia's vast outback. Raised by an animal rescuer, the birds are usually a friendly and wide-eyed source of entertainment, but then the emus learned to climb the stairs. The new skill gave the birds access to the pub of the Yuraka Hotel in Queensland. And once inside, they unleashed a long-legged brand of chaos. They snatched toast and French fries away from customers. One of the birds even went behind the bar, and a stern response was required. Emus have been banned from this establishment for bad behavior, a sign now says at the stairs leading to the hotel's pub. The message asks any human visitors to replace the emu barrier when they enter. We put the sign up, but we're not quite sure whether they're able to read or not, hotel co-owner Jerry Gimblett said. So we had to put a bar across there as well. Yes, you heard that right. Emus have been banned from a bar in Queensland, Australia. The second newsworthy story is from Berlin. According to the BBC, residents of the neighborhood of Zellendorf began noticing that they would have one shoe go missing at night, and they thought someone was stealing their shoes. This went on for a couple of months. And then they found the culprit. One night, a resident saw the thief with 2 flip-flops in his mouth. Here's the thief. And that is part of his cache of shoes. Apparently he had a thing for Crocs. They are comfortable, so there you go. This fox was found to have a treasure trove of over 100 different shoes. And so what do these 2 news stories of this week have in common, you might be wondering? Well, they both made me laugh. And hopefully they made you chuckle a little bit too. We as a nation have had heightened anxiety since 2016 at least. And in the midst of heightened anxiety with inflammatory tweets that come out day by day, with protesters getting pulled off the streets in unmarked vans, with the nation mourning the death of civil rights heroes, it may seem like the news stories of a fox and some emus will just get skipped over, that they aren't that important. But precisely right now, we actually need news stories like this. We need stories that remind us to take pleasure in the mirth that happens in animals' antics, in the joy we get from life. Many of you know that baseball season kicked off this past week, and I know it's strange to watch games in empty stadiums, but there's still joy and pleasure to be derived from watching baseball. Right now, in the midst of this pandemic that we are in with no end in sight, it's more important than ever to go towards joy, towards those things that bring a little bit of lightness to your heart and keep your heart open, that remind you it's okay to laugh. Because our hearts and our minds aren't meant to be in a state of heightened anxiety and heightened grief all the time. It is wearing and exhausting. And the Buddhist concept of impermanence comes again and again to remind us that this too shall pass. And maybe you've had these moments where your happiness is just brimming over and there's this feeling of wanting it to be permanent, wanting to bottle it, capture it, take it with you. And then there are those other moments when everything seems like the worst. But as we know, impermanence comes again and again to let us know that this too shall pass. But this doesn't mean that we can't stay present to all of these moments as they arise, give thanks for them, or give thanks for the impermanence that means they will be with us temporarily. And so we have an invitation to move from a place of gratitude for the things that bring us joy in life, and still acknowledge the grief, the anxiety, the fear, but to always make room to go towards joy, towards play, towards those things that bring a smile to our lips and a little bit of ease to our hearts and minds. So growing up, I always loved board games. This love of board games probably started with my first game of Candyland, followed by Chutes and Ladders, and then playing Life, to Payday, to Where in the World is Carmen Sandiego, which was a board game first before it was a computer game, before it was a TV show. These games engaged a sense of playfulness that I have carried with me. And as you can see behind me, I still have a few board games. I love to get vintage board games at estate sales, and some of you know this because I've preached on some of them before. And I come by this love of board games from my father. He loves abstract strategy games. Whenever I visit, we always try to play as many games as possible. Sometimes he has them set up even before I've had my first cup of coffee. So when I went home to Salt Lake City at the beginning of this pandemic for a couple of months, the truth of the matter was none of us felt like playing board games, but with a large amount of time on our hands, we knew it was still important to go towards joy and towards playfulness. And so my dad and I would have a running game going in the living room, much to my stepmother's chagrin, when she had to walk around the game table in the middle of the living room rug. This game table was up for the 2 months that I was there, with the game always in process on it. We had a little die that would go back and forth and let each one know whose turn it was. And so you would walk by, make your move the die, and then the next person, when they walked by, would make their move. And after we would finish one game, we would usually play that one game 3 times just to see who got the best out of 3. And then after we would finish that, my dad had a running stack of these games in the living room. I suggested a couple of times when we were cleaning the house that maybe we should put the stack of games away. And he said, no, this is our pandemic stack of games. We need to see how many games we can play during the time you're here. And so when I left, my father did a lovely Facebook post with a picture of all of the games. Shown here. We played just a few games while we were together. And at the beginning of the pandemic, when I was still here on Cape Cod, my dad and I started playing games on this website called boardgamearena.com. And that continued through my stay in Salt Lake and has continued to this point. It would really annoy our other family members when either of us would be making moves on our phone or our computer when we were in the same room as each other. And other people would be trying to have a conversation with us. But it brought us, and still brings us, so much joy. Currently, we have 22 games going at once on Board Game Arena. I made moves on all of them this morning before this service. And maybe you're not the type to like board games or sports or comedy shows or any parts of this service that made other people laugh. Maybe that laughing meditation made you deeply uncomfortable in not all the good ways. That doesn't mean that you can't go towards joy still. As many of you know, we are incredibly lucky and privileged to live on this beautiful peninsula in the Atlantic Ocean. A study from Spain came out last week where they studied people who either went for a walk in the city, or they went for a walk near a natural body of water, or they rested for a certain period of time, several times a week. And consistently, the study found that when people walked near naturally occurring bodies of water, they reported an elevated mood. So if the typical things of going towards joy and playfulness don't really work for you, that doesn't mean that you can't go spend some time at the ocean or the pond near you and still reap the benefits of a bit more ease in your life and elevated mood. To be reminded of the impermanence in life with each wave that laps the shore. Today in the service, you have an invitation to remember to seek joy in all the things, to remember to seek laughter, to seek connection, to do those things that nurture your soul, whatever that looks like for you. And there's no shame or judgment. So if what brings you joy is a reality show called The Floor is Lava, while for other people it's not really their cup of tea, that's okay. This time of pandemic is about cultivation. And what are you cultivating? Are you cultivating playfulness, joyfulness in your life? Yes, we need to be activists. Yes, we need to be getting out the vote. It is imperative this November. And yes, we need to go to those things that replenish our well and that remind us that we can still have fun and go towards joy in the midst of a pandemic, because this is what helps sustain us. We're all being transformed by this pandemic in ways we can't even begin to know. Like I said a few weeks ago, what if this pandemic turned everyone into artists? And also, what if this pandemic also made people feel a little bit more joyful, a little bit more ease in life? A Facebook friend of mine posted yesterday that they had a physically distanced picnic with their friends in a park, and it made them feel like they were on top of a mountain because it gave them so much joy. They said that this pandemic is making them realize that these little things are so big because they haven't been possible for so long. Therefore, people of First Parish Brewster, friends and members, what is bringing you joy right now? I invite you to type it in the chat box. Tell us what's bringing you joy right now. Animals are bringing people joy, going to the beach, living with a toddler, fish pond and hydroponic garden, people's pets, writing, listening to the birds, creating things, finishing projects, visits to the beach, cycling, watering gardens, social distancing, birds, pets, swimming, watching kids, seeing everyone's faces on this Zoom call, sharing with each other, playing Mario Kart, gardening, birds, making music, healing dances, watering gardens, Zooming with family, First Parish Brewster Zoom. So many things are bringing us joy this morning. Doodling, talking with friends, listening to other people laughing, seeing family, swimming in the pool. So many things are bringing us joy this morning. May hearing these things remind you of what brings you joy. May you go from this Zoom room out into the world and go towards joy, my friends. And if you're just not feeling it today, that's okay. Each day is another chance to say yes to life in all of its forms. If you're not feeling it today, maybe you'll be feeling it tomorrow. May laughter make its way to you when you least expect it, whether it's the story of emus named Kevin and Carol, or a shoe-stealing fox. May you go towards joy and laughter and playfulness in the days and weeks ahead. This is what will help us to make it through this time together, transforming and being transformed in community together. Can I get an amen?
Amen.
All right.
Amen.
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 And so now for our closing hymn, it's going to be an unusual hymn, but you know what? That's the theme of this service, if you haven't picked up on that. Our closing hymn is If You're Happy and You Know It. Nope, I tried to mute all. Why isn't it letting me? Make sure everyone's muted. There we go. Okay, there we go. Thanks, Karina, helping me out with mute. Okay, so we're going to do If You're Happy and You Know It. I think you all know this song. Am I right? Can I get some nods? All right. And if you're not, just fake it till you make it. Nobody's going to come to your house and see if you're really happy. But maybe this makes you a little bit more happy. If you're happy and you know it, clap your hands. If you're happy and you know it, clap your hands. If you're happy and you know it, then your face will surely show it. If you're happy and you know it, clap your hands. If you're happy and you know it, stomp your feet. If you're happy and you know it, stomp your feet. If you're happy and you know it, then your face will surely show it. If you're happy and you know it, stomp your feet. Okay, we're gonna try a different way now. If you're happy and you know it, scratch your side. If you're happy and you know it, scratch your other side. If you're happy and you know it, then your face will surely show it. If you're happy and you know it, scratch your sides. If you're happy and you know it, say ooh, ooh. If you're happy and you know it, say ooh, ooh. If you're happy and you know it, then your face will surely show it. If you're happy and you know it, say ooh, ooh. Now we're gonna do those together, scratching side and ooh, ooh. If you're happy and you know it, scratch your side and say ooh, ooh. All a bunch of monkeys. Thank you all for participating this morning, for having some fun together, for joining in, for embracing a little bit of love and laughter. May you take this with you out into your day as you go. May you find joy and playfulness out in the world. Know that you are beloved to me and to this community. Until we meet again, go in peace and joy. You're welcome to stay for coffee hour to connect with other people. So stay if you would like. I'm going to unmute everyone so you can say goodbye.